So what happens is Scott Bessent first goes, the finance minister of America for an Indian audience, goes to Ukraine. He gets ignored. Zelensky is sleeping and can't come out to meet Scott Bessent. Finally, the meeting happens. It's a very stormy meeting. Now, why should it be stormy? If you want peace, now American troops being in Donetsk and Lugansk, not troops, American feet on the ground, means there's a higher chance of Ukraine getting that territory back, right? So none of it makes sense. Zelensky's reaction doesn't make sense unless you look at him as the Kejriwal of Ukraine. Calculating opportunist. Duplicitous calculating opportunist. Second, at Munich, he meets J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, agrees to everything at the meeting, but is very difficult at the meeting and goes out and trash talks. Says, I'm never going to sign this deal. Why would you not want to sign this deal? Why? Because remember, there's more money at stake. There's $350 billion worth of Russian assets, which are frozen but need to be seized, which he wants for the payment of reconstruction. He doesn't want, and Ukrainian resources are meant to be for Ukrainians, which is basically him to take out as and when he wants. Okay. The third part of this happens when he lands up at the White House. Now, I've given you the context of his own behavior in the past, extremely dictatorial behavior. Now, you can say it's because of elections. No, he's banned the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. He's banned anything associated with Russia. He's thrown several members of his parliament in jail. You're seeing the kind of, street justice that's meted out to any Russians in Ukraine and things. Ethnic Russians of Ukrainian citizenship in Ukraine. They're stripped naked, tied to poles in the middle of winter, heads smashed in with hammers and things like that. He does nothing about it, by the way. So the man is a dictator more than just not holding elections. Okay, so when Trump says something, it actually, when you hear Trump the first time, you're like, this guy's talking shit. And then when you actually dig, you see he's condensed it down, but he's actually quite accurate, right? So what ends up happening is, nobody's asking him any questions. Everybody's asking Trump. And he keeps intervening and contradicting Trump. So if you watch that entire 52-minute clip, he intervenes at 13 minutes. He intervenes at 24 minutes. He intervenes at 33 minutes. I think the 14-minute clip is where he's calling Putin a terrorist. You're not there to discuss Putin or Russia. You're there to sign the mineral deal, put on smiles and get the hell out. But no, he wants to relitigate the entire matter in front of the cameras. He takes out the photos and shows him. You think the American president hasn't seen these photos? Right? This is being done for the cameras.
This is the time when J.D. Vance's propaganda videos and...
this is before that. This is around 13, 14 minutes in. That happens at 40 minutes in. So what ends up happening is, at 14 minutes, Trump accepts. He doesn't, 11 or 14, I forget now. At 24 minutes, Trump is like, okay, let him talk. And Trump kind of mildly pushes back. He says, you see this guy, he hates Putin. How do you deal with hate? I'm sure Putin has nothing nice to say. That's what he says in between, right? Now, he still doesn't get it, Zelensky. At 33 minutes, there's an even more robust intervention. And I'm being polite here when I say robust. And finally, at 40 minutes is when Vance is talking. And he talks about security guarantees. The mineral deal is your security guarantee. This has been explained to you ad nauseum. Trump has said he's given you security guarantees when he gave you the Javelin. So understand, when Zelensky brings up this point, it is malafide to its core. He's trying to humiliate Trump and Vance in the belief that they will not humiliate him in public. And JD understands that very, very well. And then he starts humiliating Zelensky in public, which Zelensky had not counted on happening. He also didn't count on the fact that Trump will then join in. And then you saw what happened. That was the root of the
JD as well, right? In Russian?
Yeah, he said suka blyat.
Yes.
Which is fucking shit.
Shit, okay.
Fuck bitch.
Has it ever happened something like this?
Suka is bitch. Bliath is fuck. So he says suka bliath, which is fucking. It's like, like when we say in the middle. I don't know entirely if it was. Look, if as a Hindi speaker you'll get this, right? I could look at you and say, or I can be frustrated with what you say and kya bol raha hai? So, I don't know if it was an abuse directed at JD Vance, to be fair, or it was, just an expression of frustration.
Either ways, you're not.
Either ways, you can't use that kind of language at a meeting like that.
Yes.
Okay. Trump makes fun of everybody and everyone. He talks down to everyone. But have you ever heard him use a profanity in public?
No,
you never use that at a diplomatic meeting, period. It doesn't matter what happens. You don't use that kind of language. He does. And what ends up happening is it's all down from there. Trump tells him to get out. So when he says you've insulted, people will say it's the meeting. All these left-wingers, they're saying it's at the meeting. He was just rude. It wasn't insulting. No, you've actually insulted because I've given you the history of what all has happened. And in the context of that, it was a calculated insult to both Trump and Vance. Okay. The thank you was a bit rich because he's actually said thank you very profusely several times before. But the left is very good at, picking and choosing a certain narrative and playing this out. So this is the story in the complete context of it. Okay? And that is what happened at that meeting. Since then, he then went back to Europe, had his feathers puffed up by Keir Starmer and all those people, which the Europeans are very good at doing. And he then starts realizing 2 weeks down the line that maybe he went overboard, but he's still not learnt his lessons. Because day before yesterday, he actually sent an apology letter to Trump, which the Ukrainians were insisting was not a letter. It was just a Twitter post a week back, which was expressing regret. It didn't say sorry, but day before yesterday, he's actually sent a letter saying sorry. But today, what does he do? Yesterday, he attacks Twitter with cyber operations. And today he attacks Moscow. Now, and this just before talks are going to begin in Saudi Arabia. How do you think Trump is going to take this? So he's going out of his way to sabotage things.
थैंक यू सो मच दोस्तों, आपने अभी तक ये क्लिप देखी, लेकिन अगर आप पूरी वीडियो देखना चाहते हैं तो उसकी डिटेल्स डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में भी है और पिन कमेंट में भी है और आपके स्क्रीन पे भी फ्लैश करेगी। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।